Hey, this is Mike, and today we're going to go over some more SQL column operators. Last time we talked a little bit about single table queries, and today we're going to talk about um, some additional operators you can use in your queries to make them more powerful. We'll start with some just basic addition operators. So if we select all from our products, we're going to find that we have a price here, and there isn't anything really great to add in this whole database without starting to join tables, which we'll get to later. But for now, just to show you the way the operators can work, let's just say we want to take price and maybe add a standard shipping rate of $5 to it, and we'll just run this right here, and we'll get that the price plus 5 is now equal to 23, and you can see that it added 5 to every result here in our table. You can see that the name is kind of named weird. It's price plus 5, which is fine here, but different SQL databases will do different things. I know SQL Server says that it's undefined. And the way that we define that is using some things called aliases, which is triggered by the keyword as. And so we can say as price with shipping. And then we'll run this again, and you can see we can manipulate our table head. And that's important because then when we start to do our order buys, we can order by price with shipping by name. We can see, and we can do it in descending order, so the most expensive item is on the top. You can see in SQL Server, or not in SQL Server, but in this little web version of the Java of the SQL database, there's a weird epsilon rounding error, which you'll maybe learn about when you are doing JavaScript. But to get rid of that, we can use the round function, and we can round it to 2 decimal places. And now everything looks like it should. So that's aliases, and you can use many arithmetic operations. You can do multiplying, so maybe you want to do the tax on all the product. So we could take price times 0.065 for a tax rate as tax. We can run that. Now we can see our tax again. We got that little rounding error going on, so we'll round to 2. There we go. So the tax on this item will be $17.13. Now say that we wanted to give the absolute total. You might think that you could just say, hey, let's take our price with shipping and add our tax, but unfortunately I'm not aware of any SQL database that can take your aliases and start operating on them right here. It doesn't work that way, so we're going to have to take the actual value, our price with our shipping, plus our tax, and we're going to have to round it again probably because this JavaScript web browser SQL is a little bit goofy, and we'll do as total. And then maybe instead of saying all, we'll just say product name, because our table is getting a little big here. So now we got our product name, we got our price with shipping, our tax, and then the total cost of the item. And so that's how you can use some of those arithmetic operators. You can use them up in the column results that you're returning, or you can use them in your where clauses like we learned in the last lesson, but just know that you can use any arithmetic operator that you want to, and you don't need to add constants. You can also add, it wouldn't make sense, but we could take our price plus our product ID, because that's also a number, as a number. Erase that total there. Run our SQL statement. And let's see what I messed up here. Oh, I removed we can't order by our shipping anymore. Let's just order by our product name because I removed that alias from it. So we'll order by our product name, and you can see if we printed out our price and our product ID that this number is the product ID plus the price. So you can add columns together, or you can add constants, divide them, run any arithmetic operator on them. You also can add strings together. So a great example of that, select all from employees. Say we wanted to get a full name column. Well, depending on your version of SQL, it's going to be a little different. First name plus a space plus a last name. This is how I would do it in Microsoft SQL Server, but you can see that that's doing something really crazy. It's giving us a 0. In MySQL, you can use the concat operator, put a comma there, put a comma there, and it will concatenate all these strings. Again, it doesn't have concat, and so I learned about a new one today. Oracle and Postgres and SQLite use this infix operator to do the concatenation, and that's what is being used right here in this web SQL as well. So we can do first name, concatenate the string, we can wrap those in parentheses, and we get the first name with the last name, and we also want to give it as last name or as full name. That way our column name is pretty and clean. And you can see, let's get rid of some of these things. Now we have just a column with the full name, and we can order by that. And we have an alphabetized list that merges those two columns together. So that's something that's really useful. Again, it depends on the SQL database version that you're using, but you have that option. So next we're going to talk about group by and halving. So back to, let's see what a good example is. Let me check my notes really quick here. How do we want to group these things? So we're going to grab everything from our orders. That's a good one to do it on. And you know, we have all of our orders, but say that we wanted to see how many orders each customer had placed. This is where group by comes into play. So we're going to group this table by the customer ID. Okay, and then we're going to have this be our column. And when you use group by, it lets you use some of the more powerful functions like counting, sum, average, min, and max. I have a few other functions there we'll talk about in a sec. But we can then count the number of order IDs as our number of orders, and we can run this, and what it does is it goes to all of our customers, and it's going to go and find out how many rows exist that have the same customer ID. And it groups them all together in little buckets and then prints it out, and right here we're counting them. So we can also order this by number in descending order, and we'll see that customer number 20 is our best customer because they've ordered 10 from us. One of the more useful things you'll start to do, and dates are a little tricky depending on your version of SQL. This version proved really difficult, but I wanted to group this by date, because that's one of the most useful things you can do, is kind of see when your sales are coming by date. And so we could group it by date, but one of the issues in grouping by date is, I guess it's order date. Yeah. I got a copy. So we can group by date, and we can see, oh yeah, we had 2 orders on the 8th, 2 on the 19th. But this isn't super useful because it's still really long, and there's lots of days we only had 1 order on. And so maybe we want to group it by year. And so in the date format, you can see that just by convention, this database, and everyone's got another method for getting it, but I wanted to make it work. So I wanted to get that 1996. So I'm going to use this substring function. We already talked about round, and there's count. You can sum, average, minimum, and maximum, but we're still counting right here. So we're going to group by, and we're going to say substring of our order date, and we're going to go from the first character, which is not zero base index for some reason, and we want it to be for long. We're going to group by that. Oh, I'm using my Windows copy. I'm on my Mac. There we go. And so you can see we have 152 orders in 1996 and 44 orders in 1997. And if we wanted to go one step further, we can actually even group by month. So if fourth character was my end of my year, the fifth is going to be the dash, the sixth is going to be the start of my month, and months are too long. So we're going to grab this substring and we're going to paste it in as month. And again, if you're using a different SQL database engine, you're probably going to have some better function than these, but still gets the job done. And you can see that we have them now grouped by year and month, but the order is, I mean, we can see our best is ordered how we want by number. So our best month was January of 1997. Maybe we want these in order, so first we'll just order it by the year, and then we'll order it by the month. And there we go. So starts in month 7, July of 96, 8, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th, 1st and 2nd, and there it is. And that's how you would go about using this group by. It's really useful for grouping by countries. It's another good example. Earlier we selected all from our countries and we just found out, or from our customers. In our first example, we found out which customers we had in each country. Well, we can actually group by country. And we can count the number of customers as the number, and we can order by the number in descending order. And we can find out that most of our customers are in the US, but we can get a great breakdown of where all of our customers are located at. So that's another cool thing that you can do with group by. Having is just a way to start filtering it a little bit more. I don't use having too often, but occasionally you can say having count of customer ID greater than or equal to 10. And so this is kind of like our where clause, but it's applying to the group. And so we can start to use these count functions. So this is going to only give us the customers that we have in countries, or the count for the customers that's greater than 10. So you can filter some things out. Don't use having too often. Let's see. Average does what you might think. We don't have a great one, but let's just say select all from our products, and let's look at the average price. So our average price is $28.86. Again, we could throw our round function around that average. Rounds up to 87 cents. So average is useful for taking an average. I don't really use min or max, but they're there. Sum, we could like sum all of our prices together and find out that the total's $2,222.71. Not super useful yet, but I promise you sum becomes a lot more useful when we start joining our tables together in a later lesson. Distinct is a nice little operator. The best example I found, let's see, was it in the products table? Yeah, it was in the products table. So I found this, we got this unit measure, and I was curious, you know, we have 77 units there, but if we order this by our unit, or let's use our group by, if we group it by the unit, and we count our products that are in the ID, and we order by our number, you can see that, descending, that some of our unit measures have more than one. And so if I wanted to get a list of just one, obviously I could do the group by, and I could just copy this list out. But there's another useful one, and it has other few cases that we'll maybe touch on in the future. But I can just say, give me the distinct product IDs, or not distinct product IDs, give me the distinct units from our products. and we can run this SQL and we get the same 70 in no particular order. We could order it by unit, alphabetize it, and then we get a list of unique units. I've used this a lot maybe for email addresses. If you allow for multiple email addresses to be in your user, when you're doing like an email blast, you don't want to send that same email to many people, so maybe you'll use distinct or group by to start dropping out the duplicates. Final piece for this lesson for our SQL column operators is just SQL comments. It's something I probably should have brought up at the beginning, but standard way of comments in SQL is a double dash. And comments are great when you get complex queries or want to explain what the purpose is. You can do block comments as well. This is a block comment that spans multiple lines, / to end it. And so either you're going to use the / or the -- depending on what you want to say. So when you're writing some of the complex queries, it's a good idea to just put some comments in to remind you and others what this query exactly does when you're saving them. So that's it for our SQL operators. Yeah, it looks like we got through all. Length, I didn't talk about that one. Really quick. Select all from products. We can actually say, give me the length of the product name. And you can use these functions actually in your where clause. So I can say where the length of the product name is greater than 10. And this will tell us our really long product names. Maybe on our website we only want it to be 25 because maybe it gets too small. So we could consider going through and renaming some of these to giving them a smaller name. It might just give us a place to look. So length's another thing that you can use to do some of your filtering on, and it's a useful one from time to time, but I wanted to mention it because it was on my list. So that's it for lesson 2.